Welcome to the Urban Cowgirl Show, training our horses and miniature cows in ranch versatility. Penning Rusty and Susie, our bull and heifer. Roping Rusty with Morgan horse, Semi. Training Eve to drive cart. Training Eve to work over her haunches with a motor cow simulator. Training Eve to lay down. Training Eve to harness, pull a log. Training Semi to harness, pull a log on turf. Jumping at liberty to music, making our Morgan horses our partners. Training Eve on a cow roping simulator. Training on our driveway, which is covered by sand, so we have a straight track. Stepping over poles, jumping over crossbar jumps. Training in our trail obstacles area. Semi on the big steps. Morgan horse Sadie doing obstacles rainlessly. Sadie learns to pull a cart. Miniature zebu heifer Susie learns to drive a cart. Bull Rusty learns to pull a harrow.
You're looking at Jill, who has a lunge line on Shadrach, Sun and Shine. Sadie, my 5-year-old, who is Firecrest Easter Eve's daughter. Sadie is built very much like Eve, and about a year ago we did a series of vaulting shows on Eve, and we want to see if we can get Sadie to be a vault horse too. And we've got Jill's surcingle on. We're going to see how Sadie lunges with just a lunge line, and then we're probably going to see if we can get her desensitized, then sensitized properly to the Pessoa pulley system that helps to explain to a horse that we want power from the haunches and we want consistency in speed and smooth transitions. And we are lucky enough to have a UCS Equestrian Club team member here, Gina, who has done vaulting in the past. Not only has she done vaulting, but she may be able to show you on this show what the scissors looks like. A year ago when I was trying to describe the scissors, all I could do was describe it. It's a very difficult exercise in my opinion. Once executed though, the timing, the strength, it's a beautiful vaulting compulsory. And our objective in this first show, maybe by the second show, is to maybe do a scissors with Gina on Sadie. Okay, now Jill has a mic on, and she's going to explain to you how she's evaluating whether or not Sadie, in her head, in her behavior now, would even be a candidate at this time to be a vault horse. Jill?
Okay, the last time I lunged Sadie, she was really bad on the lunge line. She was rearing and trying to spin around on me. So I'm being careful with her today. I'm not totally trusting her behavior. I don't want her to kick out at me or rear and trample me. But she seems pretty calm right now. What I expect we're going to see is she's going to fall in on the lunge line. It's going to be hard for her to hold herself out on the circle. So, and one thing I also know about Sadie is sometimes she doesn't like to go forward. And that's when she gets all balled up and she doesn't want to use her hind end. And that's why we had thought that eventually the Pessoa system might help her, teach her to use her hind end. You can see she has no experience on the lunge line. She doesn't even know that I want her to move out on the circle. So,
however, I have lunged her, Jill, and if you put yourself in the right position and get her going, stay out of strike zone, she does understand this exercise.
And there she goes. There she goes. See, you can see her first tendency is to fall in because I get lots of slack on the line. So I'm going to just give her enough line that she uses. I don't want to give her too much because I don't want her to fall in and then step on the line. So you can see the line is taut and she's using everything I'm giving her. And I'm going to slowly give her a little bit more and see if she'll stay out on her circle. And she does. She falls in a little bit over here. You can see the line slacken. But now she takes back here. So when she comes here, I'm going to try to shorten it a little bit myself. And that's pretty good. This is actually much better than she was the last time we lunged her. I'm using my horse's bridle, Demi's bridle on her, just a simple O-ring, loose ring, French link bridle that I remember Sadie kind of liking before. And it has the little bit guards on it so the bit won't pull through her mouth, which also seemed helpful to Sadie. Now she's holding herself out. And she went into a canter on her own. I'm just going to let her go. This is much better than she's been in the past. Before, she didn't want to canter forward at all. She would stop and rear and get herself all bunched up and canter in place almost. Just gonna let her go. She looks like she wants to get a little energy out. You can see her head position. She's, got her head up in the air and her nose out. So I did bring my sliding side reins, which I would want to use on her before using the Pessoa, because the Pessoa works on the front end and the hind end, but the sliding side reins will only work on her head. So I want her to get used to having some restriction on her head before putting the whole Pessoa thing around her hind end.
Notice how flat Sadie's back is, short coupled, hardly any withers. That makes her very much like a draft horse on the top line, which is what is often used for vaulting horses. But if we can slow Sadie down, she's got a nice, smooth, flat-like trot and canter, but if we can slow it down and have it consistent, we think that it's going to be easy to do some of the compulsories, at least on her.
Good girl.
Which we'll first try at a stand, then we'll try it at a walk, then we'll try it at a jog, and maybe we'll try it at a canter. Also, there's vaulting on a horse, which we'll do when we have her vaulting surcingle on. We'll try to show it to you, because Gina knows how to vault on. It's been a while, but I'll bet you she'll be able to do it. And vaulting on is really, it's almost like a trick riding. Run along with your horse, get in rhythm with your horse, spring up at the right moment, swing that leg over the back, and there you are, on.
I'm making the circle smaller. When I started it, she got confused. She thought I wanted her to change direction, and that's when that little moment she stuttered. She's still a little bit confused. She thinks she's maybe supposed to stop, but I just want her to go in a smaller circle, and then I'm going to let her move back out. I'm going to see if I can ask her to walk. Walk, walk, walk. Good girl. But I want her to keep walking. I want her to turn into me.
And that's a little confusing.
Because she's been taught, I know.
Yes.
But that's all right. She can figure it out. Walk,
that's right. With consistency in our
walk.
cues. She'll understand. Both Jill and I.
Good
and Gina.
girl. Good girl. Whoa, whoa. I'm gonna let her turn in when she woes. She's taught to come to me, but that's all right. Good girl.
Now we want Gina to develop a relationship, a partnership with Sadie, because Gina is going to be the person on Sadie's back doing the vaulting compulsories. So that's going to take some repetition, some consistency, and we hope to show you the progress. Jill is just helping us today and maybe next session just to understand these tools. I think yet today she'll be putting on the side reins, and probably next time we'll put on the Pessoa. We may not even get to any kind of vaulting at first. We may have to have this be a multi-part series before we can even get on Sadie's back with trust, because of course safety is number one.
So she's about the same on this side. She falls in when she gets to the lower part of the arena.
Falling on it, right?
Yeah. And she kind of goes out. So I'm keeping her on she pulls me out over that direction.
Wait, was she bad from her right going left?
You know, she's about the same.
It's just inside.
Yeah. And I leave the lunge line hanging down. I know a lot of people wouldn't recommend that you do this, but this is just how I like to do it. A lot of people would want you to hold it all in one hand. And you can always do something like that and drop it accidentally. But
and also, Jill, when you leave it hanging down, just know where it is, because it can accidentally wrap around your legs.
yes.
And then, and then if your horse runs off, you're stuck.
That's true. That's true. And I do realize that, but I prefer not to have a bunch of stuff in my hands. So this is just how I do it. Didn't always do it this way, but I do now. I'm gonna let her canter.
So Gina is here watching. She can see the falling in, and she knows that that's going to be something we have to work on. Keep Sadie straight. Keep her body straight.
Okay, I'm gonna put the side reins on her.
And now we're going to put the side reins on. So
how she
I'll turn
handles
the
that.
camera back on when they're on. Okay, we've got the side reins on now. And that's just a matter of clipping the clasps to the various rings and to the O-ring snaffle. Now, being that this is probably the first time she's ever had these on, I totally expect her to misunderstand. She's feeling pressure on her mouth, and she's wondering if she should back up. By the way, it's very windy, as you can probably hear in the camera, but okay. Ranch versatile horses work in any kind of weather, and if we speak loud enough through our mics, you should be able to hear us above the wind. Now let's see how Sadie does with the help of the side reins, the sliding side reins that should give her the message that we want vertical flexion.
So they're really loose. She could still put her head in basically the same position she was before, but I'm just gonna let her, not really putting any pressure on her. She's kind of nervous, so she's kind of trotting off quickly on her own. I haven't even hardly moved the lunge whip. I don't need it. I probably could put it down, use my hand. In fact, that's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, I'm going to turn off the camera, and when we go to the next step, I'll turn it back on, because this is just going to take repetition. Okay, now we've tightened the sliding side reins. 2 more rungs, we call it. 2 more rings in an attempt to encourage Sadie to keep her head in vertical flexion. We still don't have, though, that speed control. We want steady, slow speed in each gait. And that, I believe, is where the Pessoa is going to help us. We're getting her ready to be a vaulting horse. You see that she has the vaulting surcingle on. She was just fine on us putting that on. Then we put the side reins on, similar to the way they were in the last session. We'll tighten them or loosen them as we see how she goes. We've got an O-ring snaffle on her mouth, and the reins are just wrapped around, safely around her neck. And then one other thing, another way to do the lunge line is to go over the ears. And that's what we're doing today. We tried it in our last session too, but didn't get it on camera. It helps to encourage the horse with a little bit of pressure behind the ears to bring their head down. Now we're doing this practice again, and maybe then again, just depending upon how Sadie behaves in both directions, before we put on the Pessoa pulley system. And we'll show you how it looks just by bringing it out and spreading it out for you. We're not going to put it on her today. We are, however, if time permits, and if Sadie's attitude is right, gonna at least get up on her back behind the vaulting surcingle. Let her feel us bareback. One small step at a time is our philosophy here. And she's staying out really nice. She was falling in a lot last time, Rosie. Rosie wasn't here when we first did this with Sadie in our last session, so Rosie knows Sadie very well. We're just reviewing today, not only for Sadie's sake, but for Rosie to know where Sadie is on her prerequisite skills to becoming a vault horse. We're letting her come in.
I think I'll probably tighten the reins just a little bit.
Okay, she's gonna tighten the side reins a little bit. Okay, because they're flopping around, then she'll probably check the cinch. Always check the cinch of a vaulting surcingle too, similar to the way you check the cinch of a saddle. Okay, so we'll turn the camera back on when we're going in the other direction. Now we're taking the lunge line and putting it on the other side over her ears and then down to the O-ring snaffle, which you have to do if you've got it on one side or the other, depending upon which direction you're going. If you're just under the bridle on a halter, it doesn't matter, but oftentimes you do have to change the position of the lunge line. Let's see if we can get her to go out. Let's see if we can get her to not fall in. Good. She's getting started now. She knows what we're requesting. She's being real stress-free, resistance-free. It's not a windy, it's not a cold day. Weather often affects.
Letting her feel that the lines are a little shorter, that the side reins are shorter.
Since we made the side reins shorter, Rosie's just letting her walk out a little bit so Sadie can figure it out. And there she's asking for a jog. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, we'll do this for a little while. I'll turn off the camera while we do our repetition, then we'll show you a couple new things today. That is getting on her back, behind the vaulting surcingle, and showing you what the Pessoa looks like when it's not on the horse. Well, we're going to pick up a canter here just to show you how fast Sadie is cantering on the lunge line. That's much too fast for a vault horse. We're hoping we can, with repetition and with the help of the Pessoa, get her to push off her hind end a little more and slow down. We'll show you soon our next step. Okay, now Rosie put the helmet on. She's gonna see if she can get up on Sadie's back. We'll use a step up if we need it. And I am going to go in there and hold the lunge line and let you know how things are going. Then as a last step for today's session, we'll show you the Pessoa. The Cossack straps are a little higher than stirrups would be.
And I'm gonna need smaller boots. These boots are pretty big, and I don't think they usually use.
Right, we usually
Riding
have,
boots when they go.
yeah, there are usually slippers on, you
Yeah.
know, like gymnastic slippers or vaulting slippers, which
Yeah.
are smaller. But look, Sadie's doing well. Let's have her walk out a little bit so you can see her. We're not going to actually do anything but a walk.
I'll just sort of move around a little.
Yeah, yeah. We're probably out of camera's view here. Let me show you how good she's being. Good. Remember, Sadie's only 5 years old and she's never been a vault horse. Her mom has, though, and we hope that Sadie's disposition will prove to be just as good as her mom's.
Don't trip over that. Whoa.
All right. Now, Rosie's doing some things on
Sort of
Sadie's
moving
back.
around.
Whoa, let's forward.
Oh.
And just to have her feel her legs, her knees, her feet. Let's go out a little bit. Trying to stay in camera's view for you.
Oh.
Good girl, Sadie. Yeah, now see, this is unusual.
What is this? Ooh,
Oh, that was a little unusual.
how's that feel?
Yeah.
Fine.
We do things like kneel and straddle
That's fine.
and
too.
arabesque and stand
That's fine.
on the horse's back of a vault horse.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. So we're just seeing what Sadie's saying about all these weird feelings. Rosie has a helmet on,
Good girl.
just in case we get a whoopee. Good. Rosie's actually doing a mill.
That's fine.
We'll teach you a little bit more about the compulsories as we get better with Sadie as a vault horse.
Fine. That's
All right, now I'm gonna just, as long as she's standing for you,
Oh, wait a second.
this is the Pessoa.
Good girl.
Bunch of pulleys, ropes. This is like a britchin that goes over her hips. The pulleys and the ropes are going to be tied to clasp to rings, maybe through the Cossack straps, maybe through the handles of the vaulting surcingle. And with the help of the Pessoa, we'll get some powering from the haunches, and we'll have a little bit more handle on controlling the speed and smooth transitions of the horse. And we'll show you as we progress in very small steps. And that's all for today. Sonia Sokolow, the Urban Cowgirl, www.urbancowgirlchannel.com. We'll have you watch Sadie as Rosie slides off. Good. That too is a challenge at first. Info@urbancowgirlchannel.com. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them by email. See Sadie's back leg cocked? Good sign. Good body language sign of resistance-free, stress-free attitude. Lunging Sadie with the Pessoa pulley system. Well, here we are with the Pessoa on. We're just walking Sadie around today. Now, we're not really going to start cantering her at all with this Pessoa on, but if she picks up a canter, that's okay as long as she's not getting stressed. What we're going to do is just walk her, then slow trot her, see how she behaves if she picks up a canter. The Pessoa eventually is designed to help the horse reach with their back legs, power from their haunches, which eventually should slow them down. I'm very pleased so far with what I see. We're watching body language. She's keeping her head down nice. Notice that we don't need the side reins on because the Pessoa pulley system essentially is a side rein. We've got the lunging line over her head to help remind her to keep her head down. Now we're going to tighten it a little bit,
What did you say? Like,
I'd say 2 inches on each, 2 inches.
about 2 inches on each side. It is a quiet day in Santa Cruz. No construction going on next door, no wind to speak of, warmth of the sun, so weather is on our side. This is preparing Sadie to be a vault horse.
And truck. Come on. Work a little.
I like the way she's putting her head down. I like the way she is not getting concerned about the cords and the pulleys and the strap on the back legs. Okay, we've brought her over here to the west side of the arena where it's a little bit flatter. If she does pick up a canter, which she did, we slow her down to a trot. She's not ready for the excitement of a canter because she started to mouth the bit and she stopped the lunge and turned towards us and was confused. There are a lot of pressures on her body right now. We just want this to be a repetitive exercise that's going to help her to slow down her trot and make it more consistent. She does it slowly, then she speeds up, then she does it slowly. We need to get consistency. All right, now Sadie's up here just so that we can give you a close-up of the Pessoa.
Okay, well, she, there's a clasp that goes here to the top of the vaulting surcingle, ropes that go down on either side, that circle around her upper part of her hind legs here, and there's this pad, so it's nice and comfortable. And then from the same ring here that these ropes are attached to, the ropes that come up here, and we put them through the, what are they called? The
Cossack straps. Uh-huh.
And attached to a pulley here on a clasp that's on the bit. And then the rope goes through the pulley and down between her front legs to a ring that's here.
Under her belly.
Yes.
Okay, so the pulley is really critical, isn't it? To give and take smoothly. Yeah, and it also helps us to give like a something to help her headset, and yet not something frozen in a position. It moves, right. It gives and takes, right. Mm-hmm. All right, well, this is our introduction to the Pessoa pulley system on Sadie, and we're going to keep practicing with Sadie, and when we're ready to vault on her, we'll show you. www.urbancowgirlchannel.com.
Our cast of characters: Sadie and Eve, Sammy, Demi, and Lotus, Rusty and Susie. www.thesokolos.com